Way back when, even before I became a coach, I was working with Rich Litvin, who was the coach who helped me transition from the tech world into the coaching world. He made this distinction that blew my mind. And back then it was absolutely a new thought that I had never had. Now it's kind of Instagram friendly, but it's this distinction: a created life versus a default life. So basically, you're doing what you've always done every day because we're busy. We're busy surviving. We're busy raising kids. We're busy trying to make quotas, all that kind of stuff. So we forget to create our life. We forget to move the needle in the direction that we want to move it. So that's our default life. And by making changes, every change that you make in your life is a it turns it into a created life. There's something deliberate happening so that we're taking the trajectory of our life and putting it in the direction that we want. Sometimes it's just we hate our job and we want a new job, and switching jobs is the first thing is getting our resume together. That's part of having a created life versus the default life. Then it's networking lunches and meetings, part of a creative life versus a default life. It's little small steps. Then it's going on interviews, and then it's finally making that big step to create a completely different trajectory than you had before. I wasn't thinking about it in terms of my coaching as a distinction until I was working with a client recently about a transition he wants to make, a direction he wants to make, and I realized that this distinction fits perfectly in the corporate world, in the business world, even if you're not going to change jobs. I'm working with this one client who, when we first started working together, he wanted to take over a whole division of the company, be a CEO of this division of a company. And we put that as a goal. And 3.5, maybe 4 years later, he got that position. He is now the CEO of that division of the company. So we were talking some more just the other day, and the CEO of the parent company wants to groom him to become the CEO of the entire company. And we talked a little more about it, and he doesn't want that. But that seems to be the inevitable path. That seems to be the default path. And I talked to him about this distinction. You know, if if you don't want to be CEO, you have the political capital, you have the influence over the organization, you have the wherewithal to create what you want in this organization. You can create the exact job that you want. And he says, I don't even know what I want. So great. We don't need to know exactly what you want. Let's start with what you don't want. And he knew exactly the pieces of the organization he wanted nothing to do with. It wasn't his skill, it wasn't his talent, and he didn't enjoy it. And there were other people in the organization who totally thrive in those areas. And we started to slowly build a scaffolding of how he wants the next 3 to 5 years to look. And what we understand is that it's going to take little things every day, every week, every month to move the needle so that 3 years from now, he wakes up in that created job, that created day to day that he wants to live. That goes for the same for you. So how do we think about these things if we're in an organization and we're moving up in the organization, we're becoming more senior, because that's who generally listens to this podcast, right? Those are you guys, high achievers, and you're more and more into leadership as you become senior leaders. It feels like you have more and more responsibility and you have less and less freedom. You get those golden handcuffs, you get more money, you get more responsibility, more people, and it feels like you're boxed in, but it's just not true. So a couple ways to start thinking about where do you want to be in 1, 2, 3, 5 years is, again, what do you not like? What is the bane of your existence in your current job, in the jobs that you see as you progress up the ladder? And you can start to look at how you can supplement, how you can augment the team, how you can bring other people in, how you can change job descriptions on the leadership team so people who have that talent can take care of those things. The other thing to look at is Gay Hendricks' zone of genius. One of the things that I work with my clients on, in order for them to be at their best, to be doing the things that they're great at, and to have other people do what they're great at is that zone of genius. There's these levels of zone of incompetence, zone of competence, zone of excellence, and zone of genius. And we want you playing in your zone of excellence and zone of genius as much as possible. When you're in your zone of genius, you never work a day in your life. When you're in your genius, everything it feels like a cheat code because you're just so effortlessly good at it that you don't even think that you're working. So when you're in your zone of excellence and zone of genius, you know you're in the right place and you want other people in the same place. So the saying goes, drop by drop, the pot gets filled. Drop by drop, you can fill the pot with good. You can drop by drop, you can fill the pot with bad. Drop by drop, you can change the trajectory of your career, of your life, of your relationship, of everything. But the most important piece in this is to be conscious. Where do I want to go? Where do I not want to go? If that's all you can get is, I don't want this. Now, what are the micro changes that you need to make today? What are the attitude changes? What are the conversations you need to start to have? What are the support and resources that you need? What kind of people do you need to have in your life? If it's for your personal relationship, what kind of coaches or therapists or marriage counselors do you need to help move your relationship in the direction that you want? You're not a victim of your relationship. Your relationship is a reflection of who you are today. And if you don't change who you are today, that default direction is going to be dominant, even if you change partners. So changing yourself little by little, your relationship changes. So think about that every day. Where do I want to be 2 to 5 years? What changes do I need to make? What little micro things do I need to be aware of? Write it down. You have to write it down someplace. And again, it can be what you don't want to start. It could be what you're really good at, what's effortless at. And those are clues to how you can create that. And your mind is going to tell you that this can't be done. This isn't the way it's done. This isn't the way the job's done. They're never going to go for it. But if you are as valuable as I know you are to the organization, if you show up in the way that I know people who hang around with me show up, you are valuable to the organization and they want you in your zone of genius. So I want you in your zone of genius. Hope this is helpful. Let me know how I can help. Love you a ton. Have a great rest of the day.